good now. Thanks for the introduction. I'm always happy to speak on Metal Messiah Radio. You guys are top shelf.
So, Matt, please tell us about Wreck-Defy. How did the band get started to begin with?
How did the band get started? Oh, my God. Okay, so back, you want a history lesson here. The inception of this band came to fruition in around 2016. I had a plethora of riffs that I assembled over years of just garage band jamming and stuff like that. And I reached out to a buddy, Stear, who ended up becoming the original vocalist and bass player for the first Wreck-Defy session. And my buddy Glenn Drover, former Megadeth alumni, was willing to mix the record. So as we put the songs together, his brother Sean offered to do the drum tracks on it, and that's how Fragments of Anger came together. And basically it was just a labor of love. Songs that were laying around collecting dust for years that have been played a million times in the garage. You know, we decided to put them on an actual recording. So after that, I was shocked that it actually got picked up by an indie label in Europe. Alone Records out of Greece picked it up, and then we did a vinyl deal with them as well. Anyways, it grew some legs of its own, so to speak, albeit on an independent level. But I entertained the idea of doing a second Wreck-Defy album, and Justin bowed out. He's got his own gig in another band called Alphakill. Actually, they're defunct now, but at the time he had something else that he had already committed to. So in order for the Wreck-Defy train to keep moving forward, I reached out to Aaron Randall, former Annihilator vocalist. He was the first pick I had. Fragments was revered positively. Like I said, albeit on an independent level. But that was good because I had something I could throw at Aaron immediately and say, this is the type of songwriting that will be, following up and hopefully be interested in working together, which he was. And lo and behold, that was basically the building blocks for how Remnants came to fruition. And then Greg Christian came on board through actually Juan Urtiaga, who's mixed the last two Wreck-Defy albums and will most certainly be mixing the next one. When I reached out to Juan, asked if he wanted to mix the second record, just because I wanted to advance the sound and have a little more sonic sound. I mean, Glenn Drover did a great job with Fragments, and we're proud of that record for what it is. It's it's your debut record, if you will. So it's kind of cool to see those songs make it to that, to the light of day and still be relevant to some degree, even though they were written, some 20-some plus years ago. Right. They're still kind of sonic. That said, I wanted a more sonic sounding production, and for me, that was a no-brainer. If I look at a lot of the American metal bands, a lot of what's still active in the Bay Area, bands like Vicious Rumors, Heathen, Testament. Juan Urtiaga's had a hand in all their records as of recent. And as far back as the mid-2000s, he did Sadis's comeback record, Out for Blood. So, Juan's been around for a while. As far as I'm concerned, Juan's the best guy for this type of music in the U.S. For me, for what I want my records to sound like. So, reached out to Juan, and then I explained to Juan how we were looking for a session bass player. Couldn't find anybody in Canada, my neck of the woods, that was, I guess, up to speed is the proper way to say it in terms of the technicality that was required to play that stuff. So, fortunately, Juan had an epiphany and said, Greg's a good buddy, and, the Testament gig's no longer a thing, so maybe I could entertain the idea of coming for some session stuff. But, Greg appreciated the music, and it basically turned into a partnership now, and we've done another record, and he's going to do the third record with us as well, and he's eager to play shows with us if this COVID shit ever goes away. So, and then bring us fast forward to where we are now, where we just finished doing Powers That Be. It was actually mixed at the end of April, beginning of May, and as you already hinted upon, it comes out in October on Sublevel, but also releases in November on both Doc Gator Records of Switzerland on vinyl and Punishment 18 Records out of Italy on CD. So there's been like a partnership thing with the three labels. They've all been working together to help promote Wreck-Defy. So it's kind of a good position to be in for us. Again, the major labels and the bigger labels, they're not really for, I guess, a band of Wreck-Defy stature anyway at this junction. It's not like we're out there touring, for a living. We're all blue collar guys with careers, but we're not opposed to playing shows. It's just more of a leisurely pace, festivals and so forth, as opposed to road dogging it, So
Exactly.
So the independent level is perfect for us right now. That's that. I hope this new record we feel is really strong, and hopefully it gets distributed in enough territories that people can actually hear it. And the whole adage, it's our best one, man. It's better than the rest of shit. Well, of course you should think that way, right? But you've heard the record. I know you've heard our other stuff, and I truly believe that we've stepped up the songwriting on this one, and the mix is flawless, and we're really proud of it. So, and lyrically, it's very relevant. There's still a lot of venom spitting. That's what I'm best at when crafting lyrics. But at the end of the day, most of it is sarcasm and tongue in cheek, and it's to relieve the anxiety of the daily grind. So it's not fantasy based. Maybe there's a few songs that are, but for the most part, it's just steeped in realism. With our disgust for government, big business, and just the fragility of the human race right now. It's trying times for everyone. Doesn't matter what your race, creed, ethnic background is. We're all in the same ship, and it's sinking. So it's either shitting it off the pot, people, right? Are you going to be a wolf or are you going to be a sheep? So that's kind of where we're at right now. And the lyrics kind of are a testament to that, pardon the pun. But, yeah. Motor mouth. History.
Yeah. Who did the cover art on the album? I think it's outstanding cover art, and that killer logo, the name Wreck-Defy on there, and the blue colors and everything. Tell us about it.
So the artist's name is Arianthi. I believe he's out of South America somewhere. He's on my Facebook page. He's on the Wreck-Defy page as well. Handwrought Art is his moniker. And, he's more than happy to sell artwork to bands. You can create a concept with him, or he'll design one for you. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because Ari deserves a plug. He's very feasible, and he's very quick, and he's honest. So, if I've learned anything in the last 5 years, it's that there's not enough honest people in this business. So Ari's a godsend when it comes to that. And Ari Arianthi, Handwrought Art. Check him out. As far as the blue, I've always been a fan of blue. Originally we went with the green because, the onset of this band, it was more of like an homage thing. And I stated before years ago on Dave Softy's show that, my two favorite thrash bands were always Violence and Overkill. So the lettering and the stenciling and the color essentially came from Overkill, and then the hyphen was the Violence homage, which we used a bullet instead of a hyphen, but you get the drift. That was the idea behind that. So, but the blue is, I think is something that'll stay. I'm thinking that's more of our identity, especially with the affiliation being, Canucks up in the north, and it's cold and frosty and lots of ice. You know what I mean? Doesn't the blue look colder than the green? Anyway.
Exactly.
So, yeah. What else did you ask me?
Yes. What makes this album different than the previous offerings that Wreck-Defy did?
Well, truth be told, all the songs for the new record were written in the span since the last record was done. There's no old material. So all of the stuff that's been put on this new record is all relevant to, basically my headspace as a writer and as of today, and then as well as Aaron's contribution where he was vocally, at the time of when we put this record together. So I guess the meaning there is that there's no material that was left over from 15, 20 years ago, riffs laying around that were recycled. This is all fresh material moving forward. And it's basically, I would say that it's the apex of my ability as a songwriter right now. Obviously, I hope to improve upon my craft with every record, but I'm really proud of this one. Like, this is the record, we worked really hard on making sure that there was no throwaway parts, in the sense that there was no melody omitted or no hooks omitted. We wanted to make it as heavy as we could, but not lose sight of a structure or a song. It's kind of like that throwback to the way Anthrax approached songs like Indians and stuff back in the Among the Living record, where they had those big soaring melodies and that. I've been blessed to work with a singer like Aaron, and why not exploit his ability? So, to not put him in the forefront of the songs and make the vocal prowess, the go-to section of the song, I think would be kind of a waste of talent in terms of not using Aaron accordingly. So, you know what I mean? We are a vocally driven band supported by thundering guitar riffs and obviously Dave's Actually, another thing I'm going to put a plug out for our session drummer. So Alex Marquez is our live drummer. Dave O'Neill is our session drummer that did the drum tracks for this record, as well as Remnants of Pain. And Dave's done the drum tracks already for the next record, which is just being demoed. So Dave is the monster powerhouse pulse generator that propels the Wreck-Defy train, if you will. Dave's amazing, and Dave needs to be revered. In every drummer circle in the world, I think that guy is like sick as can be. Right. So, yeah, man, it's just a different record for us. It was, we're just firing on all cylinders, and the ironic thing is, as difficult as these songs are to play, they really weren't hard to write because they kind of wrote themselves. It was really an inspired time to play when these songs were put together. Like within 6 weeks, this record was done. Like from having no material to having the album written, like completely front to back. 6 weeks. That's vocal melodies, guitar riffs, everything. So like we were really, I don't know, inspiration just struck somewhere for both Aaron and I, and I'd send him a song, and like no sooner he'd send it back with the vocal melodies, and it was very rarely did it go through any type of changes. It was just like it was a very organic process, and it just seemed to work out well, man.
Okay, Matt, let's play a new track from the newest offering to come out, Powers That Be. What can you tell us about the song that we're going to play, Matt?
Well, I think if you want to intro the record, there's no better way to intro it than with the title track, Powers That Be. It's a 7-minute epic thrash song. It's pretty relentless in its groove. And that said, it doesn't lack for intensity. The lyrics are relevant as hell. We touch on all kinds of topics, but we're not a political band in terms of, we're pro-Democrat or we're pro-Republican or we're conservative or liberal, whatever terminology you want to use. We think politics suck. Right down the middle, they suck. We think politicians are full of shit. And that's basically the gist of what the song is. And, it's just a think for yourself type thing. Just fight the hand that feeds. Fight it,
Okay, Matt, now we're going to play a new track from the self-titled Powers That Be by Wreck-Defy here on the Electric Circus radio show at MetalMessiahRadio.com. Cricket!
Hey, this is Matt from the Canadian thrash metal band Wreck-Defy. You're listening to the one and only J0KeR's Electric Circus on Metal Messiah Radio.
I'm back with Matt Hanchuck, the guitarist of Wreck-Defy. So, Matt, you released the lyric video Skin from your upcoming album, Powers That Be. It will be out in October via sublevelrecords. Please tell us about the lyric video Skin.
What would you like to know about it? Other than the fact that we're really happy with it. We're really proud of how it turned out. A guy by the name of Derrick out of Croatia made that video for us. He's actually done a couple of lyric videos for us. And he's doing another one for another track called Drowning in Darkness for us, which will be out, I believe, this coming Friday. You know what? It might even be out tomorrow. I'll have to check with Craig and at Sublevel Records on that. But anyways, moving forward, to answer your question, Skin. The irony behind Skin is this. Obviously, with the lyric video, some of the segments we used in it are relevant to what's occurring in the United States post the George Floyd incident. Our message is pretty clear. I think, thank God, there's lyrics on the screen. And if anyone misconstrues that, I mean, I can't apologize for that. But our message is unity. It's pretty broad statement. It's just divided we stand. That's how it is, and it should be united we stand, because divided we fall. And what I'm referring to is races, right? So, I mean, our outlook on this is that the government has perpetuated a false narrative, and it's created major dissension. The irony is this, though. That song was written a year ago, along with the lyrics, long before any of this ever happened. So it's ironic how this all came to fruition, in a negative light. But it's still a positive message that we're trying to spin on it. And, so far the feedback has been positive. There's been I've seen a few comments online where people said it's pretentious and weak and what have you. And I just laugh, this is the trolls of the world, right? And, but at the end of the day, that's fine. I mean, to get any type of response, I guess, is better than no acknowledgement at all. And that's someone's opinion. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I have to respect others' opinions, right? one direction or the other. Personally, don't give a shit about politics. All I do know is that it's disrupting the lives of all of us.
Absolutely.
I just wish it would go away. You know what I mean, brother? And we could just be prosperous. All of us be prosperous, and try to decipher what the word freedom truly means to each of us. And collectively, it might mean different things. But one thing for me is, it's not about preaching or anything. It's just about stating facts that are something we hold near and dear to us. It's not. We don't want to write songs about Dungeons and Dragons or anything like that. Or getting laid or smoking crack, any of that stuff. I mean, unless it's from a political standpoint where you're trying to share a message or convey something that needs to be addressed. I guess it's up to the individual writer, creator of the music. But for us, it wasn't a preachy point, and if it's construed that way, then I can't apologize for that. I'm just making it clear that that's not the intent. But I'm assuming you've seen the lyric video.
Yes, I've seen the Skin lyric video. Who edited the lyric videos for you guys?
That's the same gentleman, David Bargaric, that I was referring to out of Croatia.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, so if we stole too much footage from a newsreel, you'll have to sue him. Anyway, what did you think of it, dude? Are you a fan?
Yeah, I love it, and I've been listening to the album that you sent me and everything. I think it's more aggressive than previous work and more pissed. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. There was no punches pulled. In fact, somebody coined the phrase that after reading the sleeve, they said, man, there's a lot of verbal hand grenades used in this record. I thought that was a good line. I don't know if they coined that phrase or not. Maybe they stole it somewhere, but I'd have to agree. On that note, on the very first track, Beyond Hate, there's a little tongue-in-cheek sarcasm in there, but that was actually written for a supervisor that I work with, so, no punches. So, yeah, there's a little bit of venom in there, a little bit of anger for sure. But you know what, I think even with that anger that's, obviously strongly felt in the music, I think there's a lot of breathing room with the melodies in the songs. I think that we didn't, like I said, I'm really proud of the fact that we were able to, infiltrate with hooks and melodies.
Yes.
In every corner of every song, because to play with a more of an intense palette, more of a driving sound and still be able to maintain some sense of melody, I think is a difficult task,
Yeah, I hear the melodies in it, and I love the melodic in it, the melodies and everything. I think it's great. I think it's going to be in one of the top thrash metal albums in 2020 so far. I really do.
Man, that means so much, man. That's humbling beyond words, buddy. I appreciate that so much because, like I said, not that we're not proud of the other records, but it's just we just felt like we had something special with this record. That's all. And because it just truly was no skip-worthy tracks on it, and the feedback's been really interesting. That the people that have heard it front to back, what we've gleaned is that every person seems to have a different favorite track, which is really cool because, one guy likes Goodbye to Misery, one guy likes I Am the Wolf, one guy likes Drowning in Darkness, whatever, but it's always different, and yet at the same time, it's all off the same record, so, that's kind of cool that it's touching people in different ways. I think that's the goal, right?
When I played the first track of the album, I automatically got chills. When I get chills like that, I know it's great stuff, man.
That's awesome, brother. I appreciate that, man. That's the whole, I'm with you. Hey, I get chills when I listen to Leonard Skinner, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
So, yeah, Matt, what studio did you guys record the album in?
Well, my guitar tracks are done in, I actually did those in Winnipeg with Justin, actually. Same guy that did the vocals off Fragments. I was on a redneck deer hunting trip there last fall, and I brought my guitar with me, and hunting was good, quick and over. So then I took the time to go to his house and do some guitar tracking. So that's how that worked out. And then Aaron did his vocal tracks in his home studio in Vancouver, and then we exchanged tracks back and forth, as I explained. Because basically, we built the songs together, Aaron and I. And then when everything sounds like demo, then everything gets sent off. The stems get forwarded through Pro Tools to Juan Studio in Chico, California. And then Greg comes in and does his session with Juan, along with, Dave comes in and actually does the drum tracks, and then Greg will come in and lay his bass lines down at the end. That's how it works, man. And then the solos go on last. Guitar solos generally is what we do.
Matt, please tell us about the gear you use and the company that makes them, the brand of instruments, and why do you like that brand of guitar you use and the company that makes it.
Actually, I'm looking for some guitars. Anybody got any guitars for sale? Please get a hold of this gentleman, and he'll send me an email. You know what? I've been playing these BC Rich Draconian Bs. Mm-hmm. They're 24 fret mixer body guitars. I got 2 of them. I'd like to get a couple more of them, but they're kind of super rare and a little pricey. But pricey for used shit, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not opposed to playing anything that sounds good. So I'm not one of those guys that's anal about a name brand. I don't have an endorsement deal with a guitar company, so I don't have to worry about that. But I do have an endorsement deal with the greatest pickups on the planet, in my opinion, which is EMGs. Mm-hmm. So shout out to Tommy Armstrong, my guy from EMGs. EMG pickups are phenomenal, and I use the 85-89 configuration of most of my stuff, which is the same pickup configuration that Steve Smythe uses. Steve Smythe is a massive influence to me, so I could never play like Steve, but I certainly adore everything that he's been involved with, and has propelled me to better my craft as a player. So,
Matt, please tell us about the metal scene coming up in your country, Canada. Tell us about that.
The metal scene up here?
Yes.
Well, you know what? We have pockets. We have little pockets of it. We have super hardcore fan base, but they're little pockets. Like Montreal is a hot zone. Mm-hmm. Toronto's got clubs, but I wouldn't call Toronto a metal town. Toronto's a yuppie town. Yeah. We'll just leave that alone. But no, Montreal's got a great metal town. More death metal than thrash, but just the same. They'll accept thrash metal there. Mm-hmm. Vancouver's got a decent scene. Winnipeg has a decent scene. Calgary's got a decent scene, and Edmonton, it's a fleeting scene, but it's there. And where did I leave off? I guess Regina also has a notable scene, albeit on a probably a smaller scale than the rest of the cities I just mentioned. But clearly, dude, from coast to coast, and all of our landmass, that's probably it. And when I say metal scene, I mean you could probably draw upwards of 100 to 200 people to a show at any given show. So, if you don't get an opportunity to open for anyone, if you're headlining your own gig, then yeah, that's essentially our metal scene. If we're going to call it a scene. Right. You know what? There's a lot of talented people up here, man. There's some great musicianship. Just look at BC alone. You've got Devin Townsend and the guys from Strapping On. Well, Jed Simon's got another project on the go again, and we have Strapping Young Lad and Zimmer's Hole, and there's just a plethora of decent bands that come out of Canada. Voivod's still going strong. So, you know what? Annihilator has relocated to England, but there'll still always be a Canadian lineage there. So, and I know Sacrifice, my buddies in Sacrifice are putting out a new record this year, and I can't wait to hear that material. And
there is that new wave thrash metal band from Canada, as we know, Hazard. What do you think about those guys?
I think Hazard are great, man. I think they got a lot of talent. I think they're on a great label. I think those guys want to be rock stars, man. I think those guys are off to a good start. They got M Theory Audio backing them. That's Marco Barbiere's label. And as everyone knows, probably Marco came from Century Media. So that guy has a wealth of knowledge that can only benefit a band like theirs. And that's great. That's exactly what they need for that type of exposure. So, yeah, big fan of the band. Actually, I spoke to those guys on the Remnant cycle, and we discussed the notion of playing shows together, but I don't know why it didn't materialize. I think it was they were already on the road or something at that time that we were looking at booking shows or something like that. It was, but you know what? Like I said, the scene is so intimate here that post this COVID nonsense, I'm sure that we'll end up playing on a bill together at some Canadian festival or something next year, most likely.
Matt, how old was you when you first started playing a guitar, and who are some of your influences as far as playing the guitar that you look up to, that you were so and yeah, man, I want to be a guitar player and in a band?
Wow, okay. Well, I started playing around 13 years of age, and I didn't really take it seriously till probably 15. So, although I acquired one at 13, that guitar was more of a canoe paddle than an actual guitar. And once I decided I actually wanted to play guitar, and I acquired a decent piece of lumber. It was a Charvel Avenger, which is like the Randy Rhoads style Charvel, the old bubble spelling Charvel in the headstock, like Tommy Victor from Prone used to have. Anyways, around 15, I guess I started hitting it hard, and you know what, like everyone else, I mean, at the age of 15, shit, what year was that? I would have been like 91, I guess, 91, 92 maybe. So my major influences were like Dave Mustaine, Kirk Hammett, Alex Skolnick, Phil Demmel, Craig Cicero, Tim Calvert, all those guys, man. Gary Holt, Rick Hunolt, the whole Bay Area scene, Doug Piercy, Lee Altus,
wow.
And some of the shred guys back then too, obviously, like Jason Becker. I mean, I could never play like those guys, but I mean, they were doing metal. It was shred metal, is what it was, right? Like the cacophony stuff and that. The stuff was mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. To this day, I still think that stuff is mind blowing. But those were the guys. And then later on, I started to have a different appreciation for slower-handed guys that had a different message to convey as opposed to the shred. I'm getting into guys like Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Stevie Ray Vaughan, guys like that.
Right.
I could really appreciate their craft more. Because when I started playing, I just wanted to play heavy and fast. So I I was ignorant to the nostalgic, what's the word? I think nostalgia is not the right word. The history behind, the blues rock guitar and where all these metal guys actually cut their chops from. Because if you look at the progression from like Chuck Berry to Jimi Hendrix to, Neil Schon to, Kirk Hammett, Joe Satriani, it's just, the apex keeps moving higher and higher, but it always starts out with that 12-bar blues chord pattern. Do you know what I mean? Like back in the day, that's really where it all came from, right? Chuck Berry. So, I started to appreciate guys like Kenny Wayne Shepherd and later in life, but in the beginning was all the thrash guys. And to this day, I still revere all those guys as masters of their craft. And you know what? I've been blessed to have the opportunity to play with some of those. I have those guys play on some of our records. In fact, this new record, we got Jeff Thorpe. Fucking Jeff is a legendary guitar player from Vicious Rumors. The guy started that band in 1979 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's how much more humbling does it get than have Jeff Thorpe play a guest solo on your record, right? So we had Jeff and his gunslinger Gunner do great. Gunner's Gunner should be revered as all those shred guys are. He should be considered up there with Steve Smythe and all those incredible players, Jeff Loomis, Jason Becker. As far as I'm concerned, anyway, Gunner's one of the gunslingers of the past. That's a modern day guy. There's not a lot of guys playing like that anymore.
Legends.
Absolutely, man. We had Doug Piercy from Heathen play a solo on the new record, as well as Costa Barbataki from Hatred also played a guest spot. Hatred's a wicked band, amazing band. Those guys have the energy of all the Bay Area bands. Obviously, there's some good lineage there, some good family genes, right, coming from Zetro's bloodline. But yeah, man, it's been a good ride already, this whole Wreck-Defy thing. And, at the end of the day, I mean, that's how I would gauge the success of this band. It's just that each record has been a progression forward. The feedback has always been sort of positive, and the fan base, although it's not huge, it's growing. Albeit at a slow pace, it's still growing. And I could be happier than to say that we've released at least 3 good records, each one better than its predecessor. So,
what does the name Wreck-Defy come from? How did you come up with the name Wreck-Defy?
It's just a play on words. It's the word RECTIFY, Wreck-Defy. Mm-hmm. And you just say it fast, Wreck-Defy. It's just RWRECK-DEFY. That's all. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a play on words. But it has that sort of tongue-in-cheek, sort of slap-in-the-face trash kind of attitude associated with the words itself, wreck and defy, and then using the 9mm round for the hyphen. I don't know, it's kind of it's supposed to be offensive, I guess.
But we love the name, and it stands out. It's got pop to it, that name, Wreck-Defy.
Right, eh? Yeah, that's awesome. It'd be nice to see that on a NASCAR one day, on the side of a NASCAR.
Right. Matt, what do you do to support yourself outside of being in the band?
Here's what I scare everybody. I'm a police officer here in Canada.
Much respect, Matt, you being a police officer. Wow. Much respect to you. And
I've been a cop for years now, I guess. And,
wow.
Going on 23, and I never shot anyone, nobody unarmed anyway. Not here. Afghanistan's a different. I was in Afghanistan. That's a different story. But being in Canada, I mean, as a police officer, I mean, I just thank God that we don't have the the racial hostility or turmoil that's permeating in the United States right now. I mean, that's a losing battle for everyone. You know, not just law enforcement, not just the black community. It's just there's no winners in that game. You know, and that's. I wish people could see it before it got to where it's going to go, but it's really sad. But anyways, I'm thankful that Canada doesn't have that type of dissension or fallout yet, right? We have a shitty tyrannical government here, and dissension is not an outmoded idea for our populace either, because of the changing of the guard, so to speak. But you know what, law enforcement, dude, I have no. I don't begrudge those that feel like they've been mistreated by law enforcement, but at the same time, you got to pick your poison too, and you have to know. I mean, when people, the whole adage, I'll give you an example. In Canada, we don't have a lot of the crime we have that's gang related here is more Aboriginal. So we have like a lot of First Nation gangs. When I say Aboriginal, I mean like Native. You call them Native Americans, right? So Canadian, like Ojibways, Mohawks, and all. Right. We have some gang problems, and if you look at the climate or the political landscape there, it has to do with a similar type of dissension that's occurring in the United States, in that a lot of these Aboriginal First Nation communities are living in poverty and substandard housing, essentially ghettos, right? Rural ghettos. So it's not a mystery that ghettos breed criminals. That's just the way it is. And the Skin Lyric video touches on that, right? And we have trailer parks here that are full of what some people refer to as white underprivileged people, right? And they also have criminal element gang people manifesting there as well. So it's not a color thing. It's dissension from the government. It's segregation, modern day segregation. That's what it is, and it's leading to God Almighty at the end of the road. So I don't know what the solution is, but I know there's an end game for all of us if we don't find one, right?
Switching gears a little bit, Matt, please discuss how you interact and respond to the fans in social media on, like, Facebook.
How do I respond to them?
Yes.
Well, positively with happy-looking emojis, usually.
Me too.
You know what? If you're asking if we do respond, absolutely. I respond to every question, every email received. I engage in conversation with a plethora of fans that are actually now friends. So social media is a great platform, especially. A lot of guys resist it, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's such a perfect medium for independent bands to be known, right? So, yeah, I mean, the whole point is to interact with people, and I guess at the end of the day, if you can answer someone's question and make them more interested in pursuing the band and getting further depth or detail, then mission accomplished, right?
Right. Please tell us where we can buy your music and get the newest offering plugs on your websites.
Well, it's on October the 9th. It'll be available through all digital platforms via Sublevel Records, or I guess all digital mediums, so Spotify, Deezer, I don't know. I don't follow. Tidal, I guess there's a bunch of different ones. You probably know more than I do. And the actual CD, our CD and vinyl will drop in November through, like I said,
nice.
Doc Gator Records and Punishment 18 Records. The band will also have advanced copies to sell through Facebook, which will be a lot cheaper than buying them online. I can guarantee you that, because we do shipping by person, by PO box, by postal code, by whatever your mailing address is. It's not a flat rate shipping. We don't try to make money off anybody through shipping or packaging or any of that horse shit. We just basically want to recoup the cost that it costs to put these records out. So, at the end of the day, we charge a couple extra dollars. What are we going to make? A couple $1,000 at the end. We'd rather just get it out to people so people can hear it.
Right.
It's not about money. There's no money to be made. So, it's a labor of love. Look, man, I have a terrible golf swing. I'm like Happy Gilmore. I can blast it 400 yards, but I can't shoot straight. So for me, this is my craft. This is what I like to do, is create music and spend a little bit of money to put a record together. You know, it's not putting me in the red type thing, but you know, it is what it is, and if it costs a little bit of money to keep the machine going, then so be it. So any money we do make, as minimal as it is, it just goes right back into the machine, which is Wreck-Defy.
Matt, is there any plans for touring or doing any shows after this COVID-19 lockdown crap is over with?
Yes. Mark Biederman and Doug Piercy from Blind Illusion. I've been talking with Mark in depth about putting together a run of shows. So that's probably going to happen as long as we get an opportunity to do shows. It's like you hit the nail on the head with this COVID shit. So, and we talked to Costa as well. So potentially have Hatriot, Blind Illusion, Wreck-Defy, and then Greggy would have his band Trauma come on the road as well. I think that would be a great bill too. Those 4 bands. Please
give shout outs on your fans who's out there listening. What would you like to say to the fans and fans to be?
I love every one of you. I want to hug and kiss every one of you. I'm kidding. No, you know what? We appreciate every ounce of recognition we get, good or bad. I mean, without the fans, there's no reason to keep releasing music. You just play it at home and you don't have to record it, right? Because you already know what it sounds like because you wrote it. So I don't make CDs so I can listen to my own stuff. It's for other people to listen to. So anyone who takes the time to seek it out, acquire it, download it, earn it from your friend, I don't care. We're just flattered and thankful that you took the time to seek it out, and humbled beyond words. You have no idea how exhilarating it is to have someone take an interest in your craft.
In closing here, Matt, it's been an honor and a pleasure having you on the show with us here tonight at Metal Messiah Radio on the Electric Circus Radio Show. The best of luck to you and the new record and the guys in the band in the future. You're more than welcome to come back on the show when you got something else new to promote. We would love to have you back on.
Well, thank you, sir. I thank you so much for having me. You've been a scholar and a gentleman like everyone I've dealt with at Metal Messiah. Lori Volk, Toby Gamble, yourself, Dave Softy, you guys all rock. And I know there's more of you. I just haven't talked to you directly, so no disrespect. But yeah, shout out to you guys. And because of what you do, bands like Wreck-Defy get a little more notoriety, and every little bit helps. So, cheers, brother.
Thank you so very much. Coming up next, I got track number 1 from the brand new Wreck-Defy album. Here is Beyond Hate. Cricket. J0KeR Live, one place. MetalMessiahRadio.com. We are your metal music messiah. Cricket.